Yeah, we're still waiting on that 7.
And the sun begins to fade. Still enough time to figure out how to chase the blues away.
You have a preference? So you want the second? Yes. Before. Okay, so second. So that means you're going either first or second, babe. Night will always go third. Which one you want, first or second? I'll go okay. Let me find out what she wants. She said no. She wanted to go more towards the middle. Sure.
Okay, sorry, I didn't understand.
No worries, baby.
I've been alone and lost my senses, spinning through the town. Sooner or later the fever ends, and I wander feeling down. I need a man who takes a chance on the love that bears hard not to last. 'Cause when the night falls, my lonely heart calls. Oh, dance with somebody.
I like it.
I was very happy. I was like, yes, give it to me.
Listen, I love it.
With somebody who loves me. Oh, dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me. Somebody who loves me, yeah. To hold me in his arms, oh, I need a man who takes a chance on love that burns hard not to last. 'Cause when the night falls, my only heart calls. Dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me.
Woo!
Thank you. Thank you so much. quiet. Usually people are talking and moving around.
We're trying to hear you.
You're killing it up there.
Right.
Put your makeup on, let your hair down, carry the extra mile, keep it slim, so they like you, oh they like you. Get your sexy on, don't be shy, girl, take it off. This is what you want to belong, so they like you, so they like you. You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to give it all away. You just gotta get it. You don't have to change a single thing. You don't have to try. 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 Get your shopping on at the mall, max your credit cards. You don't have to choose right on. So they like you. So they like you. Wait a minute, why do you care what they think of you when you're all alone by yourself? Do you like you? Do you like you? You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to give it all away. You just gotta get it. You don't have to change a single thing. You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to bend it till you break. You just gotta get it. You don't have to change a single thing. You don't have to try. 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 Take your makeup off, let your hair down, take a breath, look into the mirror at yourself. Do you like you? As I like you. Thank you. We'll tap into my country roots.
West Virginia.
Kind of country.
I live in Florida too.
I grew up in country. Hey sister, it's been a while since I met you. I just met this guy I like, and now it's just not time. I like the way he's speaking, his confidence in speaking. I like his baggy jeans on, I like his something leaving. No, I ain't been told my head. I heard he can't leave memories and doing sound away. First they see the West End, I show you to my best friend. I'm liking this American boy. Take me on a trip, I'd like to go someday. Take me to the North London to see LA. All you want to come kick it with me. Look at my American boy. Can we get a rain this weekend? Take me to Broadway. Let's go shopping, make me then we'll go to a cafe. Let's go on the subway, take me to Yahoo. Never been to Brooklyn, but I'd like to see this blue. Dressed in all the fancy clothes, sneakers looking fresh to death from lavender shelters. Walk that slip walk, talk that slick talk. I'm liking this American boy. Take me on a trip, I'd like to go someday. Take me to New York, I'd like to see LA. How would I like to come kick it with you, boy? I'm liking this American boy. Take me on a trip, I'd like to go someday. Take me to New York and San Francisco Bay. How I want to come kick it with you. Will you be my American boy? American boy. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna turn this a little lady. Yeah.
So the people that are watching the live stream can't see, but I have my skills right. So you know what that means? That means I won't be fumbling with the microphone. Well, I won't be fumbling with the microphone for me. For everybody else, it's going to be a little bit different. Testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. Are we good, Mom? Testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. Can you guys hear me okay? Good evening, everybody. Thank you all so much for being here and joining us for tonight's Rhyme and Line. As always, it means the world to me that you all could be here.
Give yourselves a round of applause. So, I want to start by saying that today's date is November 22nd, 2025. Now, if that seemed like an odd announcement, there's a reason for it. I'm happy to announce that I have found a solution for where to store old lives of Random Line. For people that are newer here, we do go live to Facebook. You may not know, but in the past year or so, Facebook changed its rules around Facebook Lives. They will only save it for a month. So after a month, they delete it. I was able to go in, save as many of those as possible, and I have made a YouTube channel. So we are on YouTube. Random Line STJ. The problem though is when I initially saved all of the footage, it just kind of gave me a bunch of footage and it wasn't labeled. So I had to go through like Nancy Drew looking for clues as to what the date was for each one. So yeah, moving forward, I'm gonna start everyone saying exactly what date it is. It is November 22nd, 2025. Unfortunately, because it's a new account, they limit how many I can post at one time. So it's going to take me a minute to go back through and post some of the old ones. But ideally, they will be in playlists separated by the year. And in the description, ideally, I want to have the list of the performers. So if there's a specific performer you're looking for, if you are looking back on which ones you were a part of, follow us on YouTube. Random Line STJ. I'm gradually adding to it. It's going to take a minute. It's going to take me a minute, but I appreciate your patience with that. So we have a home for all of the old Random Lines. Moving right along with our announcements for the night. The next Random Line is set for January 31st. So we will be seeing you for Random Line in 2026. I look forward to seeing you. That's the last Saturday in January. And the theme, we are still workshopping it, but I am fond of laugh to keep from crying. So, give you a little bit of an idea of the kind of poetry we're encouraging people to share to bring in the new year. Think of healing through humor and laughing to keep from crying. So, just because we will be seeing you for Rhyming Line next month doesn't mean that there won't be things going on here at the gallery. So, on Friday, November 28th, the Pandragons will be here playing, doing a little Christmas holiday, bringing in the holiday performance. And I also want to stress that just before that starts, that same day, the Fortsburg Hike is happening. If you have not yet signed up, but you would like to, you have until tomorrow to do so. And I've taken the liberty of making a little QR code. It is on that side of the bar, right by the door, by the bathroom. There's a QR code there. It'll take you straight to the form. There is a fee associated with it. For adults, I believe it is $47. For children under the age of 12, it is going to be $11. You have to pay in cash the day of, but you do need to sign that form first so they can get a waiver for you and so they can confirm that there will be space for you on the safaris. You have until, I had to specially ask for this. You have one more day to sign up. There's a QR code right there at the end of the bar that you can use to access the form. We ask that you join us on that hike to Fortsburg, and if you've got some energy, stop by here, hear the Pandragons, and buy some of Miss Priscilla's lovely coquito. Oh, correction. Well, yes, we will have free tastings of coquito, but if you would like to buy a bottle, we will also have bottles for sale for $30.
All right. What day is the hike?
28th, Friday the 28th. I want to stress this Friday the 28th. There was a minor issue with the form. It previously said the 29th. It is Friday the 28th. That is next week Friday. Additionally, events at the gallery on December 6th, we are having a book signing with Dr. Max Hilaire. He'll be speaking with us about his book, International Law and Contemporary Global Challenges. Speaks on a lot of things: climate change, mass migration, a lot of very, very pertinent topics. We'd love if you could come through and meet him and hear what he has to say. He's from Dominica, I believe. Is he? He is a Caribbean philosopher. Definitely come through and hear what he has to say. Last thing for December, on the 20th, is Evening in the Courtyard. That's from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Yet again, we will have coquito. There's going to be a raffle held. That's not our raffle, it's a Mama's raffle, but I do want to point out that there will be a raffle. You should come through. Last little thing before we get to the fun parts is that holidays are coming. Our in-house baker, Angela, is baking pies. If you want to take some stress off of yourself for the Thanksgiving holidays next week, she is baking pies. Feel free to inquire at the register if you want to place an order. If you are in the mood to start your holiday shopping, you're in a great place for it. We have a number of locally made ornaments, magnets, and what I'm very proud of Priscilla for doing, we have a wonderful selection of children's books by Caribbean authors. At the back, these are books courtesy of Little Bell Caribbean, a Caribbean book publisher run and operated by a friend of the gallery, Mario Picayo. So if you have a little in your life that you would like to buy a Christmas gift for, please give them the gift of reading. We have a number of Caribbean children's books in the back to choose from. Okay. So the reason we're here tonight, poetry. And specifically, tonight's theming is very, very intentional in light of all the major changes happening on the mainland and how they the claws stretch, as they do, to the Caribbean at large. There is a national movement that is happening. It was between yesterday and today, and it's called Fall of Freedom. Under the banner of Fall of Freedom, we stand together in creative resistance, because when free expression is under threat, art becomes our voice, our shield, and our sanctuary. This weekend, all across the U.S., theaters, cinemas, galleries, museums, comedy clubs, bookstores, schools, campuses, and more cultural spaces are staging events like this that celebrate artistic expression. We live in a time when dissent is punished, truth is twisted, and silence can seem safe. Yet, here you are. You chose to show up, you chose to listen, to feel, to think, and to act. This is why we must resist. Because our freedoms to speak, to question, to create, to love, and to live without fear are not privileges. They are rights, earned, defended, and carried forward by all of us. When we forget them, they fade. When we remember them, they rise again. So I ask this of you, keep freedom alive. That's a statement coming straight from the organizers of Fall of Freedom. They put this nationwide movement together to encourage artists to use their voice, to use their preferred medium to speak up against authoritarianism, speak up against the silencing of marginalized and historically excluded voices. It specifically wants to highlight those voices and those stories that make up the American fabric but are often trampled and forgotten. There's been a number of different national protests over the past few years, and this is one that really kind of spoke to me the most. I feel like a lot of them have fallen a little bit short of the conversations that should be happening within the U.S. territories. I feel that the way that Fall of Freedom has been set up gives us the room to have the conversations that we need to. And I couldn't be prouder of our featured poets, The work that they've done fits so well with that idea. Their work spans years advocating not just for the community of St. John, but for the Virgin Islands as a whole. Dr. Hadiya Seward. Another thing to note is that Dr. Seward is a Rhyme and Line OG. They've been here since the beginning, and we're thankful to have you with us here tonight. We're thankful that you're willing to share your work with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, I promise this is the last thing, and then we'll do the polls. Okay, here at Rhyme and Line, we have a procedure for content warnings for works that contain themes or depictions that members of the audience may want to skip out on. At Rhyme and Line, our first priority is creating an environment where we all feel safe and comfortable sharing and engaging with poetry as an art form. In keeping with this, content warnings allow for listeners to decide whether they want to engage with content they may find triggering or offensive. For works that contain overt sexual imagery or implied sexual imagery, overt or implied instances of self-harm and suicide, overt or implied physical violence, and overt or implied instances of abuse, we ask that performers start their performance by giving a content warning that states which of the previous is in the poem, followed by a short pause, maybe 5 or so seconds. Give us a second to take that in, understand what you're coming with, and make a decision, and then proceed with your work as planned. Now, so long as each performer's work isn't overtly violent in nature and it's not inflammatory to any historically excluded or marginalized groups, we really don't do bans on subject matter here at Rhyme and Line. Please don't make me do it. And we don't want to limit anybody's creativity, but I do have a responsibility to maintain the space, make sure that we're all okay, make sure that we're all in a position to hear each other fully and maintain, our own safety. It's a matter of boundaries. I forgot who it was that said it, but boundaries are the distance at which I can love you, love you and me at the same time.
Right.
That's the idea behind the content warning. I'm not trying to limit anybody's creativity, just trying to maintain our ability to feel safe and love ourselves and love your work. We all cool with that?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so first up, we have Sean Hamilton.
Thank you. I'm nervous. It's a rare moment. I know, right? I avoided some of my political poetry tonight.
No, it's a good night for it.
I know, but I didn't bring it.
Oh, never mind.
Well, anyway, this is my slight warning is about agape and eros. That's about it. There's no explicit sexual scenes or anything. When you said November 22nd, it's a special day for me too. I was born in 1949 on November 22nd. It's been a really long life, and I didn't know yet, so don't mess with me. This is for my husband, whose birthday was last Friday. Grown-up love aligns. Passion reaching beyond passion to a place I've never been before. When trust and honor live side by side with freedom and sensuality. Love on top of love, mated with friendship and respect, partnered with joy and truth. These are the promises of matured love. A new way to live, a new way to love, agape and eros entering the same house at last. Thank you all for doing this. You are so right about art is the only answer. It's the only thing we have for those of us who have taken a vow of nonviolence. And there's a reason that I took a vow of nonviolence, and it doesn't have to do with being automatically peaceful. This is called Breathing Underwater, and I've dedicated it to Richard Rohr, if anybody knows him. Yeah, he's been my teacher since 2017. A prayer for Richard Rohr. I stood at the shoreline and wondered what it would be like to breathe underwater. I stared at the moon and wondered at the possibility someone could see me from there. I scrolled through the obituaries and wondered what it would be like to die. I considered the clouds and wondered if we are aware when we take our last breath. I said my prayers and meditated and wondered what it would be like to not know fear. I put on a CD and wondered if in heaven I could befriend David Bowie. I wakened in the night, roosters crowing at some light, and wondered what time it was. I took 3 deep breaths and again began to pray when the voice answered, "It's today." I'm going to be honest. This is this is the other side of me. It's called Obliviates. Ophthalmologists report a sharp rise in myopia in children 1 to 10, along with a rise in oblivia in parents with diminished attention spans. Bumping along the crossroads of America in a furious rush to don't know nowhere, eyes solidly glued to blind flickering, having fried their peripheral vision. In the glow of the distracting devices, they've completely missed their life is.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sean. Happy birthday to you.
So seeing this man was the biggest present anybody could give to me. We traveled to Rwanda together, and we won't mention who paid for it. Because then I could never run for office. Oh, God. In 2008. It was, thank you.
Before we move on from that, I just want to recognize Sean Pennington as somebody who gives young writers from the Virgin Islands a platform and a chance. Who I wrote for The Source. I know David, you wrote for The Source. So thank you so much, Sean. Happy birthday. Really get writing the literary environment for
Thank you. My book is going to the publisher this week.
Happy birthday, Sean. Thank you so much for joining us. So, up next, we have Levi.
I think this is good. Yeah, this is fine. Thank you. Good night.
Nice.
I once again do not have my own poetry.
That's perfectly okay, babe.
But I couldn't resist bringing this today for the theme. I've never read it out loud, so we'll see if I'll fumble through. But this is a piece, it's a pretty thick poem, so I'm just reading this one page. This is a piece of poetry, of a poem by Amy Césaire. For those who do not know, he's a poet and politician from Martinique. He's influential, I'm going to read this little piece. His influential work, Discourse on Colonialism, center on the moral bankruptcy of colonialism, which he argued was a system of brutal exploitation and source of hypocrisy. He contended that colonialism corrupts the colonizer as much as it harms the colonized, leading to the degradation of European society itself. Césaire rejected the colonizers' claims of bringing civilization, pointing out that colonialism created the proletarian and colonial problems. So yeah, that's some background about Césaire, and I'm going to read a little piece of his poem Notebook of a Return to the Native Land. All right. At the end of daybreak, burgeoning with frail coves, the hungry Antilles, the Antilles pitted with smallpox, the Antilles dynamited by alcohol, stranded in the mud of this bay, in the dust of this town, sinisterly stranded. At the end of daybreak, the extreme, deceptive, desolate, eschar on the wounds of the waters. The martyrs who do not bear witness, the flowers of blood that fade and scatter in the empty wind like the cries of babbling parrots. An aged life, mendaciously smiling, its lips opened by vacated agonies, an aged poverty rotting under the sun, silently, an aged silence bursting with tepid pustules. The dreadful inanity of our raisin decade. At the end of daybreak, on its very fragile earth, thickness exceeded in a humiliating way by its grandiose future. The volcanoes will explode, the naked water will bear away the ripe sun stains, and nothing will be left but tepid, bubbling, pecked by the seabirds, the beach of dreams, and the insane awakening. At the end of daybreak, the town sprawled flat, toppled from its common sense, inert, winded under its geometric weight of an entirely renewed cross. Eternally renewed cross, sorry. Indocile to its fate, mute, vexed no matter what, incapable of growing according to the juice of this earth, encumbered, clipped, reduced in its breach of its fauna and flora. At the end of daybreak, this town sprawled flat. And in this inert town, the squalling throng so astonishingly detoured from its cry, like this town from its movement, from its meaning.
Who's going after Césaire?
Thank you so much for that, Levi. I just want to stress for a moment that coming in with something to read that's not an original poem is perfectly okay. It's encouraged. I try to tell people that you're free to come and just enjoy the vibes, but if you read a poem somewhere that spoke to you, by all means, come and share it with us. So thank you for coming and bringing some Césaire for us. I think that by you bringing that kind of perfectly captures the idea behind the event tonight. Just UVI has a number of different slogans and things like that, but one that they use for the school that kind of sticks out to me is that UVI, on some of its branding, it'll say historically American, uniquely Caribbean. And I don't fully, there's historically American is questionable, but I feel like that kind of highlights kind of the issue that we have here, and why events like Fall of Freedom are important, so that we can have those conversations about the places in between, the places that don't quite neatly fit into what is seen as the American story, the American fabric, and things like that. We're kind of in between and outside. At the same time, we we joke at the gallery a lot of the time that we're foreign in a domestic sense and domestic in a foreign sense. So I love that you did bring a Caribbean writer here for us to think and reflect on. I appreciate that. So up next. So normally our number 3 of the evening is Nida. Unfortunately, Nida has been pulling doubles for like a week now. So there's no way she's going to be able to make it tonight, but we love her and we're going to honor her number 3 spot. And she sent me some poems to read on her behalf. This first one is called America, but the C is 3 Ks. You know, watching a dynasty implode can be beautiful. We all marvel at the brilliant colors of the shooting star. Just no one wishes to be on it. I'll do one more. It's called Erosion. Sometimes neutral kaki in the wrong bowl, it is give you spoiled fruit. Sometimes the seed does come out bleached or red or darker than the soil. Sometimes the fruit has a British accent or a southern drawl, casually mentioning finance, infrastructure, risk management, debt relief while chasing hurricanes. Sometimes the soil is turned barren. Farmers putting seed to soil, constantly forcing produce on unmatured ground will lead to a crop of failure. No real infrastructure to hold roots. The burden of bad gardening is on us all. Thank you so much, Nida. And I am, for the holiday season, whenever your holiday season starts, I'm wishing you 5 business days worth of naps. So, with that, we are going to welcome the star of the evening, our featured poet, Dr. Stewart.
Thank you, Raven, and thank you, all of you, for being here this evening. I have to say shout out to David and Priscilla for holding down Bajo el Sol, but also holding down Rhyme and Line for all of these years. It's so important to be able to have community spaces, and not just, community spaces in general, but ones where we don't have to necessarily sanitize our politics, but we actually have an opportunity to speak truth to power, and to be in community, and all of that really just feels like a fancy way of saying being in love. Speak your truth. We love you.
We love you.
I love you guys too. So I want you all to know, St. Jacko's executive director told me that I had to write new work for this evening. And so I'm going to begin by saying that when Giovanna Lawrenson speaks, apparently I listen. And we have some new pieces, but that also means I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know the last time I've been nervous actually reciting work. The first one is called Cocoa. They say who got cocoa in the sun must look out for rain. But they say I is cocoa, and man is drops of water, too heavy for rain clouds to bear, capable of spoiling the cocoa bean. Now we've all seen the news lately, and we have seen the extrajudicial killings in our region. And so this piece is called Tip of the Southern Spare. There used to be a fire in my belly, a gumption in my throat, a tenderness for lovers, a cacophony of hope. But the wistfulness is now solemn, the raging storm subdued. I am the still cold depths of the ocean, the granddaughter of Olokun. I am a relentless witness to horrors we see but don't see. And I have a secret revolution is just you and me. The revolution is not in history, and the revolution is not tomorrow. It is not 100 years past or 100 years down the road. The revolution is not in the books, and it sure as fuck is not on TV. The revolution is not on Instagram, and it's not in a TikTok reel. The revolution is in the blood and bone, in the unity of the field. The revolution is the bitters we drink in an attempt to heal. The revolution is the knot in our throat when strange driftwood washes ashore. The revolution is us confronting the cracks in our character when we read the headlines and ignore. The extrajudicial killings at sea, our kin dead at least 83, all in the name of the shell of a narcotics war. The revolution is the shallowness of our breath when we are horrified, but feel we can do no more. Now, my father had a speedboat named Sanadu, and I really loved helping him paint this boat when I was a kid. And I was always curious about the name because what's Sanadu exactly? And I looked it up, and I remember there were like all these different descriptions for what Xanadu means. On one hand, they were like, oh, it's the summer capital of Kublai Khan's empire in like the 1200s, and it was made famous by a poet. But I found it really interesting that Xanadu is often used to describe any grand or idealized place that seems almost too perfect to be real. And I thought, what beauty you have a black man in the Caribbean with his boat Xanadu up and down all over the place. So this one is for my dad, but it's really also for all the black and brown men in the Caribbean who work on the water and have fishing boats and speed boats. Man put boat in water to go out to work or line and never made it home. It is a tale as old as time. Except this tale involves a drone. The machinations of war evolves, but all violence shares a source. Some might call it greed or the illusion of separation. I call it ignorance of the law. The law, of course, being love. Xanadu races across the sea foam, more elegant than a ballerina's pirouette. Black and red, green and white, she is a black man, an Arab man, an Asian man's pride. The fiberglass meticulously sealed to gleam and outshine the sun. 1 hop, 2 hops, 3 hops, 4. The birds believe Xanadu just might win this polka run. The coral are ambivalent, but Xanadu lags behind. The USS Iwo Jima occupies the people's mind. A few dollars here, a few dollars there, and we cheer. Xanadu fades into the rear. No one heard the missile. We only saw pictures of the flames. Xanadu was never bombed because on Earth, Xanadu did not exist. Xanadu, the impossible freedoms we seek in the nooks and crannies of imperial war. Xanadu, the knowing that you are brown and black and then you are no more. Xanadu, our ring of hope, whatever empire is to the black, the Asian, the Arab man's pride. Xanadu, the hopefulness and the forgetting the laws of nature that bind us to time. Xanadu, a grandmother's prayer, and a Babalaw's divination. Xanadu, the realm where blackness and brownness is nothing. And by nothing, I mean the all. Being in Jordan, I want to say May of last year, which was shortly after October 6th, much to the chagrin of like everyone in my family. And so this poem is for all of the people on the riverbanks of Jordan. And it's titled, I Am the Riverbank It's woven into each braid and slicks my edges just like gel. The mud of the River Jordan settles between my tongue and my tooth. It gives taste to what comes forth from my mouth, gives life to whatever I do. The mud of the River Jordan settles between my legs. It christens my children and pug-birds and rebirths all the men. The mud of the River Jordan is stuck underneath my nails. It calls me forth to labor each day. The typing, the cooking, the weaving, the altar building is its own prayer. But where is the River of Jordan in our imaginations? Has its ethos of the baptism fled the scene? I see the armed soldiers on the riverbanks, overseeing each and every baptism, positioned above the pious and the priests. The water of Jordan brushes Israel and Jordan and Palestine too. Bloated with sediment, rubble, and sorrows, Jordan holds the grievances of genocide tunnels and crumbling hospitals. The river of Jordan is dramatically shrinking. It is fair to say that we are too, from the moral weight of our wars and their ontological roots. To care for the River Jordan, each of us must tell the truth. One day we will cross the River Jordan. Settler colonial states will cease to exist, and I will say I am the river, the breeze, the stones, and John the Baptist taking his cousin for a dip. And so these final two are what I would call rhyme and line OGs. I think they're probably some of the first pieces that are written for rhyme and line. This one is called Inhabited. Wood slaves bring luck and strength on blue-black nights, and the news that someone is pregnant. So we say, hello friend, give thanks for your loving message from the north. Tonight, we chuckle so deep that the trees hear us and send their thoughts and prayers. Together, we are flabbergasted. Whenever white supremacists and their allies get sick of our anti-colonial talk, they frame us as outside agitators. As if the laundromat isn't in my great-grandparents' house. As if the dock doesn't bear my great-grandfather's name. As if the cemetery isn't filled with the bones of my kin. As if the wind doesn't whisper messages from my egungun. As if our blood isn't in the water, our names plastered on the hulls of the ships. As if the souls of the caves and hills haven't spoken to and of us for centuries. As if I am not also indigenous. As if I wasn't born here and raised here too. You could not tell the history of St. John without calling the names of people who conjured me forth from their own desirous flesh. Perhaps the bitter desire to say that I am from elsewhere is just a fantastic ploy to say that the island is uninhabited. But you see, I am the island, dust to dust, flesh to coal, blood to gut, braids to leaves, salt to tongue, bone to stone. The whole place is inhabited. If we are no more, the island is no more. The bleached coral knows this. And finally, Possession, which was actually a series. I want to say the first one was Bozaman, because, you always need a good poem, Bozaman. And that one was in Forgotten Lands. And if I recall correctly, I think this one is in the most recent Rhyme and Line anthology. It is the familiar contours of a face that rescue the young from anonymity. On tiny islands, strangers grin like former lovers. Children come out of the womb, marked by those already buried. We are born of the ocean and raised by captains, fishermen, midwives, and crew. A people who learn to walk in sync with the earth we inhabit. Our gait bends like the hills and rolls like the waves. All our lives smelling like salt and wet soil. Our clothes dampened by the threat of mold. Spending our days with no name of our own. Always identified identified as belonging to some people, some neighborhood. We love with a tinge of disdain and fuck in shelters from the storms, each day birthing ourselves to face crisis. Can we remember the way to freedom on dirt roads paved over in the shadows of resorts, serving throngs of tourists? Can we remember the way to freedom, turning local jundies into tour guides and ritual into commodity? But the children keep coming out of the womb marked by the dead. They walk through the streets, and the old people and us notice the eyes, the humor, the lankiness, the hands, the feet, the height, and the curve of the upper lip, never keeping these observations to themselves. We are constantly reminded of being possessed. At once, we are zombies circling the flamboyant tree and the worms that eat the wood, butterflies and goat shit, dirty clothes and paintings on the wall. This possession is home, a place for animals, jumbies, and trees to meet non-humans in the flesh. And at home, the mango's so sweet. Each month I bleed for the roots of the tree, the Obia woman's progeny. And it is Obia and Voodoo that makes revolutions. Blood, bone, rum, water, and dust. They say that revolutionaries make for fragile lovers, always living and loving and fucking our way through the cemetery. Speaking truth to power as living dead. I have to ask, to get to freedom, which way do you go? The pussy or the bullet? The tum-tum or the guillotine? At once, we are yaba pots and carefully crafted stonework, fruit nourished by feces, born of death and frighteningly sweet. As we pick string from our teeth, the ancestors remind us of being possessed. And perhaps this possession is freedom, the only thing that can save us from being home. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hadida. So when Priscilla introduced the idea to me of Fall of Freedom, and we started to talk through what a rhyme line under that theming would look like, Hadida is the only person I could think of as our featured poet. So thank you. Keep watching. We did this around having you as the featured poet. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, up next, we have a new face at the mic, a new face here at Rhyme and Line. We're always happy to have new faces. We have Laverne.
I've been here before. This is my second time. My daughter did her first poem, Livy, or Levi. And so when I came back in Texas, when I came back, I said, oh, I'll just say something. I'm just so grateful that I'm here. I come home. My father is 93, making 94, and I get to spend time with him. I get to spend time with my elementary girlfriend. And that's just the beauty of being in the island. You went to school with someone from elementary school all the way up through high school and graduating with them. And I'm so happy that she's marrying my brother. See the family now. I get to call her my sister, my little sister. And I'm also so happy my daughter, who was raised in the States, comes back home and wants She loves my culture. She is my culture. So, with that gratitude, I wanted to express a poem to give God thanks for all, the beauty that He's done in my life. And so, with that, I say, my heart is not proud, O Lord. My eyes are not haughty. I do not concern myself with great matters or things too wonderful for me, but I still and quiet my soul like a wine or a weaned child with his mother. Like a weaned child, my soul is within me. O Israel, you, Israel, put your trust in the Lord, both now and forevermore.
Thank you for joining us again to learn. We appreciate having you here. We also appreciate you for get another round of applause for them. So up next we have me. I prepped 4 poems, but I'll just do 2 for now. This first one is new. It doesn't have a title. It's just numbered for now. But I really like this poem because I feel like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to publish this anywhere, because I feel like this is a poem that's going to change a little bit every time I perform it. So I think that it might just stay numbered. This is 270. I'm astonished by the swells that connect us. As Melissa stretched from end of island chain to as far as Hispaniola, I'm taken by all the other claws that have gripped us. Jerry, Ernesto, Maria, Irma, Trujillo, Truman, Somoza, Reagan, the School of the Americas. No matter your land's language or creed, all we connected by the same name. Okay, so the second one I'll do for now. This one appears in the latest edition of the Caribbean Writer. Also in that, so that's the 39th edition Caribbean Writer. Some other names that you might recognize. Nida Simmons is in that one. David Knight Jr. is also in that one. Friend of Rhyme and Line, not here tonight, but we should recognize him. Mr. Langley is also in that edition. If you should be able to get a copy. If you're interested in getting a copy, you should be able to get it off of the Caribbean Writer website. But the poem is 2 poems a day accepted for me, but the one I'm going to read now is Bambula. This one, they did an opening kind of event over in St. Croix, and I just happened to open my emails and realize somebody read this poem as well. It was included in, like...
Maybe you also have a former editor of the Caribbean Writer here as well. You have a former editor of the Caribbean Writer here as well.
Oh, oops. No worries. I believe this person will be able to talk. Maybe I'll ask this person a little bit about that when they come to the microphone, perhaps. Thank you. Appreciate you. I happened to open my email and I saw that they were doing an opening event for it, and one of my poem was one of the ones that was selected to be read, and it was this one here, Bambula. Open palm meets animal skin. We may not understand, but these things are kin, and the sound they make reverberates off walls, eardrums, and chests. When it reaches my heart, I'm moved to action. A command received sends me to move, to feel, to express. The sounds of this drum are me. The me that was destined to be, a me that was predetermined. I am the result of brow sweat, pumped out chests, and hard labor performed by the oppressed. The ancestors cheer me on as I take my first step. The sway in my hips catches their breath, and the stomp of my feet echoes their heartbeat, the same one I possess. As I dance and glide, the swing of my skirt and my smile stretched wide fills them with joy. When I toy with my partner, they laugh and grin at my jest. Our daughter is us in the flesh, they say. She thrives, and I strive to continue their song, lest we forget it's to them we belong. I have a couple more, but I'll come back to the microphone with those. So, next, we have former editor of the Caribbean Writer, Trans Roach.
Thank you, Raymond. And thank you, Priscilla and David. I couldn't really, tonight I really wanted to listen to Nadia, Dr. Sewell. I alternate between those two. Just so I don't shout her because she is a scholar of the people. And I was thinking about the theme, the fall of empire. And I could only think of two things. One was a poet that I met many years ago by the name of Marie Evans, and she was from Indianapolis. And she taught at Tulane and a few other schools, and she wrote this book. I'm Purdue. Thank you, Sheena.
Yeah.
Sheena,
Okay.
and she has passed. God rest her. And this idea of the fall of empire made me think a couple of things. So I wanted to look at just three very short poems, and one is hers. And in this poem, it's a celebration of black love, a black man, a black woman. And she's talking, the poem is called Celebration. And I actually read this poem to her. And she said, "You understand that poem?" And I was young, so I was pleased. So it's celebration. I will bring you a whole person, and you will bring me a whole person, and we will have us twice as much of love and everything. I be bringing a whole heart, and while it have nicks and dents and scars, that only make me lay it down more carefully. And you be bringing a whole heart, a little chipped and rusty, and sometimes skip a beat, but still and all you bring in polish and look like you intend to make it shine. And we be bringing each of us the music of ourselves to wrap the other in forgiving clarities, soft as a choir's last lingering note, our personal blend. I will bring you someone whole, and you will bring me someone whole. And we'll be twice as strong, and we'll be twice as sure, and we will have us twice as much of love and everything. That's what we do. You are lovers together. think about Fall of Empire, I think about Black people. And I don't think about the externality. So Toni Morrison brings me to this place of thinking. Fall of Empire is like rejecting so much that we were told about who we were and who we were not. And so I wrote this poem that's called A Single Black Woman. And actually it's in that book that's on the coming to behind me that. So I think that way about this. Because this fits it. Thank you. So this is my book, The Blessing of Women. And this is the poem. It's called A Single Black Woman. One single black woman. Some are making plans for brimstone, and others for ice. For it will come, they proclaim, so sure and true, a tragic end to planet Blue. But come as it will, the global warming, and keep the watch as the sea and oceans rise. But no end shall come, and this is so long as one single black woman survives. She can keep the earth from falling and preserve the bluest sky. Within her lies the brilliant morning, within her all of life resides. And this last one, thank you. This last one is really the strongest affirmation of a belief in blackness that strikes against everything that has been thrown at it, right? And I was looking at this game with this player, soccer player from Africa playing for some European country, and somebody threw bananas on the field, and called him a monkey, or, stuff like that. And I was saying, like, I don't really have a problem with the monkey. I think the monkey's beautiful, actually, right? The monkey doesn't commit any genocide against anybody, right? The monkey has a civilization, it has a structure, it has a group, it has a family. So I don't see a problem with monkeys. If you want to call me a monkey, it's fine. But the fact that you mean it to demean makes me think that I should say something about this. So I'm being black. You clearly agree that we are the most beautiful, the most vital, all the essence of creation. Why else so vilified, so envied, so worshipped? We are the beginning, the end, the center of all being. Witness the root from which you descend, the source of everything.
So, not just the mic because the next person's tall as hell. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always a gift when you can make it over here to St. John. I talked about, you may have missed it, but I talked about how in the back, if you are looking for Christmas gifts for littles, we have a number of Caribbean children's books. One of them is The Lesson Box. We have 2 or 3 copies there at the back. And sure enough, the author is Tregenza Roach, and the artwork is done by the lovely Karen Samuel. Renowned Renaissance woman of St. John. I'm telling you, it makes for a wonderful Christmas gift. If you have a little in your life, please give them the gift of reading. And can we give one more round of applause for doing that for making it through this evening? All the gift to have. On the topic of announcements that people may have missed, if you were interested on going on the Fortsburg 1733 hike next week, Friday, the 28th, tomorrow is your last day to sign up. I have a QR code set up at the end of the bar. It'll take you straight to the form. There are fees for adults. It is $47. For children under the age of 12, I believe it is 11. Please keep in mind that you are to pay in cash the day of, but you do need to reserve your spot by tomorrow so that they know how much space to leave on the safari. Okay? Alrighty. So up next we have Jack.
Check 1, 2. I'm gonna split it. You guys know that, right?
They sound sure.
Mic check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. This is your captain speaking. Okay, so I have a couple of really short ones and something that in rhyme and line fashion I just finished in my seat.
Very good.
And I got something that's real experimental that you might hear later. So I'm gonna rattle this out real quick. It's name followed by 3 lines. We'll keep it cute. Icarus. On the moon, you will find the footprints of colonizers. So go sun your wings, beloved. Wings and earth. Sparrows cross oceans, and acorns survive the wildfires. Therefore, dragons can be killed. Dire 4. Fuck an iron wolf. Get in the lab and bring back good troublemakers. In the garden. To be knights and warriors and dragon slayers is a wonder. But what if revolutionaries aren't enough? Or just not the end game? The scary thing to me is to swallow the blood and hug your neighbors, to learn their kids' allergies, to define self outside of and without empire. What of the freedom to just pick flowers, to adventure, to die quietly, surrounded by children?
Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Jack. And good job on speaking into the microphone. You're better. You get so much better. So, up next, we have somebody that's no stranger to the microphone here at Bajo el Sol Gallery. We have Kate.
All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you to David and Priscilla. Thank you, Raven, for having us. Happy birthday again, Miss Sean. I love that you gave a shout out to Father Richard Rohr. Our theme this month of St. Thomas was True Confessions. And everybody thinks I do True Confessions because it's edgy. And it is. But the real reason we do True Confessions is Father Richard Rohr. Because he talked about how It was in the confessing to each other as community that healing happened. So, yeah, we love Author Roar. So I'm going to do 2 pieces tonight. They were both written in July. So this first one is interesting. So none of the words are mine. In July, Tiffany Yanni came down and she taught a archival poetics. All right, this was so cool. The daily newspaper opened up their archives to us, and Tiffany Yanni did what she does, and she introduced us to archival poetics. And Sarah Kirkpatrick had gotten the newspaper to give every single person who attended the workshop a centennial newspaper. So this was a centennial newspaper for the 100 years. In that newspaper, there was an article on midwifery in the Virgin Islands from 1750 to 1950. So this is what's called a inverted redaction, meaning that it's not that things are taken out, it's that what words are lifted up, but they are the original words from the newspaper article, and they're in the order as they appeared in the article. I call it an assertion of being. Colonial Caribbean, high infant mortality among the working class, 2 Danish-born and trained midwives, 1750. Served mainly the white population on the estates. However, as high as 50% of the newborn children died. Untrained, enslaved women served as midwives seem to be the reason for such a loss of life. 1830. Proposed that 10 Native women be sent to receive instruction. Council rejected the proposal as costing too much money. There were many reasons for this demise of many infants: threat, bacteria, impure water, living conditions unsafe. 1870, as landlords and planters ignored and neglected conditions under which the laborers and their family members lived and worked. Fruits of this transition: midwife nurse Evelyn Richardson, age 17, transferred to islands. Names had been erased. One moment of glory, 1917. American doctors gradually moving. Naval doctors permitted to deliver white and well-to-do African Caribbean women's babies at home. Such was the confidence. Under the American system, rate of pay did not compensate. 1936. She resigned and traveled to New York. She could not get used to seeing male doctors as a central authority. Other former Persian midwives chose lower positions. 1950. She reflected on her decades of dedication to midwifery. More than it was an inner calling, it was an assertion of being. So Tiffany, I think, was here, I think, second week of July. Less than a week later, I got on an airplane and I checked myself inpatient for mental health for 6 weeks. So there's going to be a constant warning on this about lack of consent, but not in violence from individual to individual, but in the violence of systems and institutions on the individual. So this is that whole dialectical thinking, right? Going into treatment for mental health was so hard, and it was also the best thing I ever did. I would recommend it, and it was terrible. So if you had told me though this time last year that I would spend my summer of 2025 protesting policies in a mental hospital, I would not have believed you. That was not the hot girl summer I was looking for. But we found ourselves on the second floor of this mental hospital, and there were some really egregious policies. And it was Florida, so some really egregious people. And we decided to protest. And so there was a staff elevator where all the executives came off of it, and we lined up, 21 out of the 24 of us, and we had chants, right? Our chant was people over policy, patients over profits. And we did this for 8 days, so this piece was written in the middle of those 8 days. And what's really important about the whole thing is on day 9, they sat down and met with us. They changed 3 out of the 5 policies we were protesting. They fired one of the problematic people and disciplined the other. So, use your voice. Whereas we must follow policy. Whereas a sexual assault survivor is forced to strip naked and exposed, whereas they call it a skin check, whereas she is reminded of her rape kit, whereas she is triggering more billable hours for her trauma therapist, isn't that why you came? Whereas a 48-year-old man is detained, 2 brothers broken, a dispute over money and a trust, a display of trust that is lost, blood, skin, 6 drug tests later, whereas no drugs were found in his system. Whereas a broken system said, just take these pills and we'll get you discharged in 30 days. Isn't that why you came? Whereas a terrified patient is dropped off at the ER without ID or phone. Whereas they sat scared and alone in a tiny room till 3 a.m., TV at the nurse's station, we will find you and we will deport you. Whereas the patient felt thankful to be white, at the same time guilty for their rights, whereas they are discharged and they will attend a group therapy session on guilt and shame. Isn't that why you came? Whereas humanity is stripped, whereas pleas are ignored, whereas people are separated, whereas we must follow policy, Baker Act, Marchman Act, acts against body, acts against consent, anything but an act of God, whereas we follow policy.
Thank you for that, Katie, and thank you for your vulnerability. We always appreciate when people come frequently back to the mic, and we also appreciate when they bring friends. So, next up to the microphone, we have a new face. We have Angela.
Hi, my name is Angela, and I'm a poet. I'm a poet, but I'm a person who used to live on St. Thomas for 4 years when Hurricane Irma and Maria came, and I was uprooted. Where's Tregenzo? There he is. The poem that you read about being more than just one and coming fully, I heard this week 1 + 1 = 11, and I love that. That's 2 ones showing up and not 2, right? Also, Tregenza, I wouldn't have recognized you in here, but I did have dinner with you one night because I actually, when I was uprooted from the hurricane, it's not as scandalous as it sounds. Whoa. But when I was uprooted from the hurricane, I was actually renting from Leonore Doughton and her family, and they had you over as a family friend, and I was invited, and I was so humbled by that. I've been back now after 8 years for 4 months, and I live here again, and I got the tattoo of the Virgin Islands flag to prove it on my shoulder, so I'm super happy. All right, onward. Because I always follow my heart and not always go by the plan, I'm a Pisces and you never know what's going to happen in the spirit of spontaneity. Please, I encourage you to listen to the words of this song and not my voice necessarily. It will be present. I had 2 pieces to read, but when I was young and being impressioned upon, I actually went to a Dixie Chicks concert. They've since changed their name to the Chicks. And on the other side of anger, I always find is love. And I used to listen to the song over and over and over when I dreamed of the person that I would be with someday that saw me for me and my authenticity. And when the hurricane happened in 2017, I ended up going to the Oregon coast with a little bit of a broken heart, or if not a lot. But that's where I found my husband, Dakota, and brought him back with me. And I've been living here for 4 months. He's been here, and he's moved here, and he loves it, and I knew he would. I've never sang this in karaoke, don't need a disclaimer, but listen to the words. The song is, and I would encourage you to listen to it at some point, simply, I believe in love. I made a promise to myself, locked it away deep down inside, told my heart we'd wait it out, swore we'd never compromise. Oh, I'd rather be alone like I am tonight than settle for the kind of love that fades before the morning light. Silence stared me in the face, and I finally heard its voice, and it seemed to softly say that in love you have no choice. Today I got the answer, and there's a world of truth behind it. Love is out there waiting somewhere. You just have to go and find it. And here we go. I believe in love. I believe in love. Love that's real, love that's strong, love that lives on and on. Yes, I believe in love. Thank you. And so I will read one of those poems, and that's credited to the Chicks. Again, I encourage you to listen to the song. I listen to it over and over and over and over, and it still resonates with me today, and hopefully you as well. So in the spirit of love, I'm going to read a poem or writing that I wrote years ago before I actually after I found my person, and it's called Until You. I have been reading Emily Dickinson this morning, and although she was a glorious writer, what made her a glorious writer wasn't the words she wrote. It was the passion, the feeling behind the words. The passion literally melted off the pages as she was pouring her soul into a pen and letting it lead on paper. Powerful, unrequited love. And I think with all of the things in life competing for our time and our attention, how beautiful it is to love this way, where perspective is highlighted and beaming to that which matters most, to the heart. I think it's rare in a generation that embraces noise and confusion and all the societal bullshit to really truly love in such a way. It is a gift, I think, to love you the way I do, to feel for you the way I do, to embrace it the way I do. As maddening as it has been at times, I have found much joy and honesty in loving you and in my love for you. Honesty with myself, in that I could not just walk away from something that had and has such a hold on me, no matter how much I thought I could or should, in the complicatedness of it all. I have experienced so much vulnerability, and it has humbled me. It has brought me to life. You have brought me to life in ways I never could imagine, and I thank you for that. I did not know that Emily Dickinson, at the age of 20, in fact, became quite enamored with what would be a lifetime love for a girl just a few days her junior named Susan Gilbert, Susie. She wrote about her all through her life, and this fascinates me. I have fallen in love with Emily Dickinson's heart. because through it, I see my own. Why do we not love more like this? Just jump in with our whole heart. For a long time, in fact, I thought that I did, only until recently I realized I did not. In fact, I realized I never loved this way until you.
Thank you for joining us, Angela. We hope to see you in the next one. So, up next, it's always funny when I do this because I be adding to this list and I don't always let him see. He just find out. Up next, we have Money Man, aka Ideas Man, aka Mr. Geography, aka Bajo's best plumber, electrician, and garbage man, aka Mr. Fashion Statement, aka St. John's premier actor in the role History Man, aka representative of the man them who write poetry, aka Mr. It's an obscure band from the 90s, you haven't heard of them, aka The Great Negotiator, aka my favorite poet, David Knight Jr. Oh, sorry, I forgot to do aka, say it again, Priscilla. Thank you, Priscilla, I can't say that word.
Thank you, Rick. The burden of bad gardening is on all of us? Is that right?
Yes. Wait, David, the mic moving. The mic's like.
Oh, yeah. Is that better?
Yes.
Straight to the point, because on the theme, nothing much to say. I was on St. Thomas yesterday, helping my father register his car at Subbase, and the warships were looming above us. There it is. Dr. Sewer's poetry addressed a little bit of that. It was great to have Dr. Sewer back in the gallery. I think you helped paint the walls at one point. And here we are. Degenerate Tropics is the name of this poem. The island is delirious with erosion, dominated by contractors, covering with shivering gray mist like mosquito nests. All around, improbable poems bubble up. Poems with a craving for justice, out of print, degenerate, inherently unstable poems. They redeem the moral disaster of encyclopedias. They speak of a world in which a whiff of burned plywood is an aphorism, a world in which the fly's pantomimes exceed our understanding, a world crawling back to its hiding place like a crab. Am I the last one, right?
No, there's two more of these.
But speak like you're the very last one.
Okay.
Right, man.
I just know people are anxious to hear music again. One or two more. This poem is called The Return of Jose Marti. When he returned, Jose Marti was a considerable tourist, transatlantic, a thorn in the side of society's convictions. He learned easily a swelling cosmopolitanism in the absence of distinguishing features. His elongated, sugar-like face dissolved in quiet pools of water. Around the rows of horseshoe-shaped arcades upon which the bush was encroaching, his doctrine developed from mournful Yoruban songs, knowledge of cholera, wine and silver, teams of oxen, archipelagos where coins are worn, where the humidity is didactic and sometimes radical. As the mistaken idea of perfection began to die out, the people of the interior, often thought of as happy, learned to accept the fluctuation of world maps. It is, after all, difficult to make absolute statements. Technically, a compass is incapable of expressing itself in poetry. One more.
Go ahead, you're the last.
This poem is called Sketches of Town No. 4. The ramifications spread quietly until our usually successful negotiation proved fruitless, corruption blooming at each open window like flamboyant trees fluttering without remorse. More than ever, the rich friends of wheeler dealers plan to revitalize our rundown sense of reality, their fizzing flutes delirious with the standards of another country. Even the newspapers bought up in a deal with the embarrassed ruins of the mills, dilapidated but picturesque. The bodegas with their sparkling wax floors were short of everything. Soon my visits put a human face on refusal, pastel-colored cotton like a mask, still a confirmed agnostic, still a creature of poetic license, sucking cane, propped against the Baroque exteriors of this incessant paradise. Back to the bar with you.
Like I said, it's always a surprise when I go to introduce him. I like to add in like 2 or 3 AKAs that he hasn't seen. Thank you, David. So, up next, we have a face I'm so happy is here to join us again. Mommy's Night Out. We love to see it. Jazelia. Like everyone has said, thank you to David and Raven and Priscilla for always putting this on, and Hadia, your poem's amazing. Tregenza, I loved it. I'm happy to be Black and Caribbean. Yeah, so my poem, I haven't really written much since I've had my son, but I did write this over the summer in a hotel in Texas. I don't know if it needs a content warning, maybe, for like family issues, but here it goes, it's very short. They say the palms that embrace face and chin mean no harm, even as flecks of crimson fall to the ground. Loving lessons, or a torture stake to carry. We accept the lessons, never rupturing the ties, bound by blood, yet frayed by pain. Quietly hiding hemorrhaging veins. Will this forever be ours to carry? The end. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, love. Just so you know, she is one of several poets that is included in that Rhyme and Line anthology, like Salt and Wet Soil, the title of which comes straight from a poem by Dr. Sewer. Dr. Sewer is in it, Jack is in it, Majestic, who is joining us, is in it, Tregenza, Nathan, Jazelia, David, is there anybody else in here I'm missing? Katie, all of us are in the Rhyme and Line Poetry Anthology. We do have a handful of copies, so if you wanted to pick one up, it makes a great holiday gift. Approach the bar, David and Priscilla can assist you. Speaking of Majestic.
One of the things that needs to fall is the prison system because it's bad. It's really bad.
brother, he was suffering with schizophrenia, and so he committed like a slew of crimes because of these mental health issues. And so he was gonna get like somewhere between 30 and 50 years, but he only got 3, so
W's where we can get them. W's where we can get them.
But I mean, anybody who has had a family member through the prison system knows that it's not really rehabilitation, it's just punishment. Whether or not they have mental health issues, it's just like, oh, you did something wrong, go away forever. And it's not really justice, it's debatably helpful to community, debatably. But the prison system itself is just slavery, just like mouthwashed, barely, like it's barely sugar-coated. So, this poem is called Simon Says, and it's by Ashley Davis and Oompa. And the little intro is the school to prison pipeline, i.e. the school to prison link, i.e. the school to jailhouse track, all ways of articulating a well-known phenomenon in the United States. The disproportionate tendency of minors and young adults from disadvantaged backgrounds to become incarcerated because of increasingly harsh school and municipal policies has drastic and obvious consequences. I speak like someone with a degree. Oh my gosh. So it's called Simon Says. The game of Simon Says, you know how it goes. When Simon says do an action, you do an action. But you're only supposed to do an action if Simon says. Ready? Simon says, raise your right hand. Simon says, put your right hand down. Simon says, raise your left hand. Put your left hand down. Ooh, Simon didn't say.
Shit.
All good.
Shit.
Okay, Simon says, put your left hand down. Now cross your arms. No! Simon didn't say cross your arms. You need to make sure you're listening. Okay. Simon says, smile. Show us your teeth. You're only as valuable as you are able. Simon says, wave your right hand again. Wave. Why are you waving? You don't know how to listen? You must not be a good listener at home. Simon says, it's not time for a bathroom break. You go when Simon says. Eat when Simon says. Leave this room when Simon says. There's only one rule. Only do what Simon says. Simon says, only speak when you are told to speak. Simon says, speak to your neighbor now. Why isn't everyone speaking now? You chose to play this game, now you're choosing not to play? How dare you ruin it for everyone else? Simon says it's not time for a bathroom break and stop asking. Simon says you're not listening. People that don't listen will never be successful. You know what? They don't even care. Just take out a book and shut up. Read. Simon says read. Simon says it's time to file in the hallways now, one behind the other, straight silent line tied to the right. Simon says if you can't be silent, how will you hear what Simon is telling you to do? Silence. I said be silent. Simon said be silent. Simon said only 20 minutes to eat your lunch and be silent. Eat faster. Eat faster. Simon says sit up straight and be still. Simon says tuck in your uniform. You don't want to tuck in your uniform? Go sit in a corner. Simon says if you can't handle this classroom, how will you handle your jail cell? Simon says you will refer to it as Officer Simon from here on. And Officer Simon says know your place. Officer Simon says show your teeth, boy. You're only as valuable as you are able. Officer Simon says put your hands down. We don't raise hands here. There's no questions here. Officer Simon says you must not be a good listener at home. At this rate, you'll not be going back home. Officer Simon says you only speak when you are told to speak. Officer Simon says speak to your cellmate now. Why aren't you speaking now? You chose to play this game, now you're choosing not to play? How dare you ruin it for everyone else? Officer Simon says it's still not time for a bathroom break. Stop asking. Officer Simon says you're not listening. People that don't listen will never be successful. Officer Simon says it's time to file in the hallways again, one behind the other, straight silent line tight to the right. Simon says if you can't be silent, how will you hear what Officer Simon is telling you to do? Silence! I said be silent. Officer Simon said be silent. Fix your uniform. Fix your face when you're talking to me. Clean your bunk, you stupid animal. Sit up straight. I don't care if Officer Simon said it. Officer Simon said it. So sit up straight and be still. Be still. Be still. Officer Simon said if you can't handle your jail cell, how will you handle your casket? Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you for joining us. So, up next, we have Nathan.
Okay, well, I don't know how I'm gonna follow that, but thank you, Jess. Wow. I'm so sorry about your family. That's, I have, for those of you that don't know me, I have come from a long tradition of shady characters with various lengths of prison time. And I worked for some years in the prison reform spaces in Louisiana, which was, until very recently, the incarceration capital of the U.S. empire. And that's, can't be talked about enough. I mean, should not talk it, just burn it all down. But you know, in the meantime, we could talk about it until that happened. On a very radically different note, I didn't realize there was a theme tonight. I didn't even know we had a rhyme line tonight. I just landed today and came by for a coffee earlier. Kayla's like, "You coming tonight?" I'm like, "For what?" This is not even the last Saturday. Why are y'all always doing this to me? I don't know. So I don't really have anything on brand, so I thought. And then I just pulled some from the archives, and I think this fits because so often when we're talking about justice and resistance, the framing of it is from a very violence meets violence kind of way, right? Because it's what's visible, it's how so much of the justice we've gotten has had to come about, which I've participated in and been experienced of a lot in my life. I'm at a place right now where that energy is just, it's really hard on me, myself, and there is like a second toll in that very real kind of death that comes with having to meet that level. So these days, I'm trying very much to just love with open arms, which is often used as a form of bypassing. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about to do the work, get in the shit, and love with a full heart. Because that's the only way. So I lose my humanity. Anyway, so I'm talking about a poem instead of saying a poem. So I'll just, hello world with a dewy kiss. Landing shots that do not miss. I've come to take the power back. I left upon a shelf. Can't fit in any slot except myself anyway. So it does not do you any good. You'd use it all up only if you could. So thanks for holding all my strength until I came and took it back. I donned my gloves, opened my heart, attack with a light so bright it blinds you. Hands groping in the dark so long to find the pupils huge and true. We'll always miss what we can't find in ourselves. That's why a heart devoid of love will always seem in hell, or at least running from it. Me, in my revolution, it's not turning the other cheek, it's lifting my voice to speak of kindnesses where you found none. It's spitting truth that lands like a lash, because all's ever dripped was bitter ash from your tongue. Because where your curses rang, I sung whatever graces I could conjure up about you. The Japanese fold steel 28 times to bleed out the impurities, never 29. Because anything too pure will shatter. Because you want to leave just enough of the shadow. So I drag my heart across a whetstone till it's sharp, leaving just enough of that shit to make my mark till my love's a honed blade. And use it to cut fruit, to wet your lips, to give you sustenance where all you've ever eaten is shame. They say resentment's drinking the poison and hoping the other person dies. That in my bloody martyrdom lies the keys to your enlightenment and the error of your ways. Or just, what if I go about my day? Take the nails out of my cross and build with them a home.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Nathan. If you are in a similar boat and you didn't realize there was a rhyme and line tonight, you just happened to swing by, or one of us happened to let you know, stop by the bar, talk to David and Priscilla, and we'll make sure to have you added to our email blast. We do put out bi-weekly, at least monthly email blast that has all the stuff that's going on at the gallery. My goal for Rhyme and Line moving forward is to try and, at the very least, give you a save the date for like 2 Rhyme and Lines ahead. Can't do that tonight. But at the very least, I can think that the next Rhyme and Line will be January 31st. So I know for sure the date of the first Rhyme and Line for 2026. We want to try and give you like 2 Rhyme and Line dates at a time when we announce them. That's the goal. Please be patient with me. We're doing our best. Please keep in mind that by and large, Bajo el Sol with the Green Project is upheld by 3 people. It's really just 3 people. At the right time of the year, our team is like 5, 6, but the bulk of the year, it is the 3 of us. That is why you'll sometimes see us take breaks. If we had 8 billion things to do during the month, I'm so sorry. I don't know if we could pull off a Rhyme and Line, but we will be extra happy to have you the next month. Nevertheless, we truly do appreciate when you guys take time out of your evening to be here. If you share the posts, if you send the flyers to a friend, these are all little things that we all do together to make this space. And I just want to take a moment to appreciate you all for that. Can you give all of you a round of applause? Rhyme and Line is a team effort of the people that uphold the gallery and the people that uphold this space, which includes you that come here, that share the flyers, that give us your time, that give us your energy. We appreciate you. So with that, I'm going to open up the mic for anybody that didn't read but wanted to, and I'll start that with, I have 2 other poems I'm going to do. They're on the shorter side. The first one, I wrote this one for one of the Bajo/Green Project family members, Lauren Prince. Right now, she is at Brown, and she had a very extensive paper that she's been working on related to the 1733 slave revolution. And she asked me if I could do a poem for that. And this is the poem that I wrote that she included as part of the paper. I titled it 1733. Whether revolt or revolution, all pride goes to those with resolve for change and justice. The legacy of the dead and gone shines through in our heartbeat, in our tear-filled eyes. May we face the sun and smile. May their power break through and send us absolution. And one more, because I'm really trying to be more hopeful about everything. I wrote this a while back. This is called solar punk. Solar punk is it's a genre of science fiction. I've always been a big fan of science fiction, but usually it's been like dystopias. I love me a good dystopia. Oh my goodness. Solar punk is like the opposite of a dystopia, rather than looking to how the future could be worse, as I mean, examining the present by placing it in a context of a worse future. Solar punk instead examines the present by placing it in a context of a better future. Highly recommend solar punk works, but this is my take on solar punk, but through a poem. My vision of heaven lies not in the clouds, but beneath a bright sun beaming light and life on everyone. The planet is my family. The sun is our father, the moon, our mother, my neighbors are my siblings, and our cousins with the trees. Our connection to each other means the world to me, for without this kinship, we have nothing. So, was there anybody else? It could be somebody that read but had one or two more they wanted to read, or somebody that didn't read at all that has something on their heart they want to share. Going once. Going twice. Oh, did I back? Oh. Let's listen to one. You're so tense for no reason. Hi.
So this is the one I was working on, but I wasn't sure I was going to share. I think you guys get to hear it. The decree. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Jack. Thank you for electing me your president of the Virgin Islands. It was a long road, but now that we are here, we ain't going nowhere. So here it is. If you like pineapple tart, you can't vote. Thank you. Let me get you. If you can't rotate a PDF by yourself, you're on shaky ground.
No. Wow.
If you can't use neo-colonialism in a sentence, you cannot vote. We have empires older than the devil conspiring to steal lives, to steal land, to steal all the damn leisure. This would already be hard if we didn't have generations of foxes watching the hen house. But we did, and we gonna make it work. Therefore, if you think we have military business in foreign countries, you cannot vote. If you do not have a favorite party, you cannot vote. If you think you're better than Long Island people, then you cannot vote.
Yay.
That's it. If everybody want to talk, nobody gonna read. So, you get a book, you get a book, you get a book. Everybody getting a fucking book. Please select from the pre-approved list and turn in your Babylon propaganda for Born on the Beach. And figure it out together. So finally, if you carried somebody this year, if your children don't see you, if you do not use your indicators on Veterans Drive, your heart is the color of graveyard tamar, and you cannot vote. Thank you for your cooperation and thank you for your obedience. Jack 2026.
that joke. Do we have anybody else that wanted to share? You? Our featured part, sure.
I have two more.
Yes.
From the pandemic era. In part because it was one of those moments where I think we became acutely aware of just how much we needed each other. And virtual Rhyme and Line was like a lifesaver.
Listen.
So there was a 1972 New York Times piece on Obia in the Caribbean. And this poem was born out of a reflection on that New York Times piece. It's called A Conspiracy of Secrets. Swallow the tongue. Make soup of it. Stir the contents of a calabash with your finger and taste it, pausing only to listen to the commentary soliloquy, the words like fruit falling to the ground, to be eaten or trampled. Who will crack open the pods to determine whether history is bitter or sweet pulp? Maybe the rebels, maybe the wary, maybe the lovers, tired of the weight of their guns and the perpetual fair in the water. Is this bardo, being between death and rebirth? Mr. Gumbo Limbo say, and is talk about freedom, just like my grandfather. And I asked this talking time tree to tell me what he know about me and my people land. And he laughed. And in my heart, I was ashamed of my flesh and my bones and my blood for not knowing. So I humbled myself and I asked again. And he told me to scatter. And learn the language of the trade winds. Because they better than he could tell me about myself and who I thought. But the wind say check the mountain, and the mountain sent me to the sea, and the sea say to go to the mouth of the river. And there I found honest and vocal sediments. The sandy moon and I recognized one another as family. All this time I spent living, and only then I learned that I too was map territory, the body of colony, born of a conspiracy of secrets called Obea and Allah. And the final one, oh my God. So basically, around the time of the pandemic, Crucian Gold had a lot of new cutlass jewelry popping out. And it became like this little secret code between Virgin Islanders with a somewhat radical disposition to kind of say, hey, I'm from the Virgin Islands and I have a particular set of politics. And so this poem is really for the cutlass, an amulet for transfers and pandemic. Some of us are blessed to know that flesh buzzes with remembrance, and the hum of luck is its own sustenance. And some of us are blessed to know that there is love in the apocalypse. Intimacy survives transfer day, and the fury of earth does not diminish our shame when we choose alienation over peace. The hermit crabs continue to burrow in the sand, and maybe this won't be forever, but some of us are blessed to know timelessness and non-linearity in the wars for progress. Oh, Edwin, can you hear me? If so, tell me something about luck and futurity in spite of death. Tell me something about survival and intimacy that survives chaos. Tell me how it is exactly that some of us see beyond reality. Because today, in times of transfers and pandemics, I settle and become salt to our wounds, and feel the living and the dead together like a tender bruise on my flesh, acutely. And my belly boils over with something guttural. I named it after the empire. I named all of it after Denmark and America. The corpses, the shrapnel, the virus, the villas, the stench of unforgiving, the perpetual war, the unbearableness of being their subject. Rage is the distance between who I want to be and how I survive as the colony, living in death. Oh, Edwin, I don't want to feast on anger forever. I don't want to be a hungry zombie in precarious times. Edwin, fashion me an amulet to survive the evil of capture, of being dragged across my mother Yamaya in the belly of a ship. An amulet to ward off dispossession, and elusive freedom, and 7 flags. An amulet to erase hesitation and overcome fear. An amulet to prevent me from striving to be like my oppressors. An amulet to assist us as we tend to the dying amid pandemic. An amulet to survive hurricanes and months at home without power. And centuries of praying for the end of the apocalypse. Will I be human after? Are we humans now? Is it the hierarchies that turn us into something other? Or were we always non-humans, being crushed under the colonizers' deepest desire to become human? Egum, do you remember what we are? And can you remind me? Please, shape the amulet like a cutlass, so that when I look in the mirror, I can see you strung around my neck, and recount the years: 1493, 1723, 1848, 1878, 1892, 1915, 1972, my births. Give me an amulet so that I can time travel and come to now, knowing what it is to claim freedom. Because us so-called animist savages do not respect finitude. And I want to be your dream, not your assimilated nightmare. Tell me what you need from me, Ekun. I am no respecter of time or history. Fuck the colonial order. I can be a heretic or a prophet or both, and build altars in the sand under the sea grape trees for you, Ekun, and for all your Rishas and Zemis too. So Ekun, give me the cutlass as an amulet, a symbol of your enduring love, and a vehicle for sovereignty. An amulet for the possibility of peace, a portal to free worlds. Tell Ogun to help you do this one thing for me. You're children of the dirt. For me, for always. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hadia. And I really appreciate that mention of the cutlass. Like, if you know me, I wear 8 billion rings, but if I take all of them off, the one that stays is the cutlass. And I specifically wear it on my ring finger. It's very important. Thank you so much for bringing that ring up. Crucian Gold, if you're looking for Christmas gifts, Crucian Gold, they're based out of St. Croix. Their shipping to the Virgin Islands and I think to Florida is free. Shipping to USVI, I want to say BVI, and Florida are free. Great place to pick up Christmas gifts. So with that, I really think that that's an amazing poem for us to finish with. Are we ready for some music? Yeah. If you're catching that boat, it's like 9:35. Keep that in mind if you're trying to catch that 10 o'clock. I'm going to run through the announcements one more time. If you missed it, we have a YouTube channel now, Rhyme and Lime STJ. That is where the archived Rhyme and Limes will be shared. It's going to take me a minute to upload them, but ideally they will be placed into playlists based on the year, and the description will list who performed that time. If you want to keep an eye out for when you performed, or if you have a favorite poet that you're trying to keep up with, check that description. On Friday, next week Friday, is the Fortsburg Hard Hike. I have a QR code at the end of the bar if you would like to sign up. There is fees associated. I double checked the numbers for adults. It's $47. For youth 12 and up, it's $17. For youth 11 and down, it is $11. You pay that the day of, but you do need to sign up on the form so that they know to keep space for you on the safaris. We have a book signing on December 6th. Dr. Max Blair and International Law and Contemporary Global Challenges. On the December 20th is Evening in the Courtyard. We have children's books for those looking for gifts for littles. We have coquito. We have our in-house baker, Angela, willing to bake pies for you for your Thanksgiving dinners. And our next Rhyme and Line will be January 31st, 2026. Thank you all so much for being here, and I'm going to bring back up Pam One Love, and she's going to be accompanied by Jonte Sandel. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
This is Yes.